So what we have here is the scad. I've got two sharp knives here. One is the filleting knife, and one is the knife we're going to use to actually cut the sushi. So, the sashimi, should I say. So, the first thing on the scad is to identify you've got these sharp bones that run along here. So, up first of all is to try and cut these off. Although we're going to skin the fish, to try and get rid of these bones along here is a kind of good idea. It's not easy. Maybe with this knife it would be easier, but it's to get in here to start with is pretty tricky, you know. Along here, start this again. Okay, so we have the scad. What we can do is we can start taking off the things at the top. So we've got that there. There you go. Now what you have along the top here is a ridge of bones that is really ideal if you can kind of take this off. So if you run your knife along from the very bottom and just take carefully these bones along the top, all right? You can hear it crunching. All the way along to the top. And same the other side. Now we'll trim up the skin after, so it looks a bit messy at this point, but the main thing is to try and get rid of these bones, the outside scales, because if these aren't taken off, it becomes really tricky to get to the business end of the fish, all right? So if you take these right off to start with, that makes life a lot easier. So what we've got then is the fish here. It's a typical kind of fillet job from there. Just take it through there and run them with the filleting knife down the side of the bone, just as you would a normal fillet, along the belly, because we're using this for sashimi. We don't have to worry too much about leaving a bit behind. It's much better to leave a bit behind and than to have to deal with a lot of bones later on when we're doing the final piece of preparation. So you can just run the knife down just as you would normally when you're filleting, and saying don't worry about leaving a bit on the carcass, because the bit we're leaving behind is more than we need anyway. Okay, so here we go. So I ran down both sides of the fish before taking one off, because it's a lot easier to do it now than to take the second fillet while it's still attached to the backbone. So just do the second fillet. This is super clumsy. I mean, if you're doing this yourselves, you can take a lot longer if you wish. But this is as good as I like to get it anyway. As I say, a lot of this we can lose anyway. Now what the Japanese do is they kind of take the carcass and they make really fancy shapes with it and present the sashimi back on the carcass. So they're a lot more precise than I'm being here. But what they do is like a piece of a work of art, they really do. But what I'm doing is I'm losing all these bits here, because all I want really is the two prime fillets here. Okay, so yeah, like I say, in Japan they would take this and they'd make the head stick up and they'd tumble this round like that, and then they would put a pin there, lose that bit obviously, they put a pin there and then dress the plate with the fish in like an active position on the plate. But anyway, we don't need that. So what we have now is we have the horse mackerel fillets. What you can feel here is there's some bones that run down these two, the middle bits here. So I'm just going to get something to get rid of those bones. You can either use tweezers and just to take the bones out. You can see like this. Always pull towards the head end of the fillet. And you can feel the bones. Alternatively, what we can do is we can just take this piece here, okay? Just take the top bit, and by doing so, you lose the bones anyway. So you just cut along here, feeling that the bones are on the piece that you don't want to use, on the belly side. So what you've got now is two fillets that are absolutely clear of bones. What we do then is we can skin the fish. Again, I've got slippery hands here, so 1 second. So just placing something just to hold onto the fish, and then just running the knife along the fillet, pulling the skin away. Okay, and what you have there is a beautiful first half of a fillet. To see the skin is on that side. I've left this like this because sometimes the Japanese or Koreans would score that and actually make the skin part of the decoration. But we don't really want that here, so again I'll just go to the other end, seeing as that's fallen off of the knife, and just finish off the fillet from the other end. Same thing, just take the skin and pull the knife across, and you end up with this beautiful piece of fish. Okay? So let's see if I can do this in one piece, but it doesn't matter if you don't, because the fish is going to be chopped up anyway. Here we go. So again, same thing, is some of the skin is left on. If you're Japanese, you'd say that's how you'd want it anyway. But if you're European, you don't want the skin on. Your sashimi, just go at the other end and just finish it off. Okay, there we go. So what we've got now is we've got the two beautiful pieces of sashimi ready just to be sliced. And it's really just simple. In this case, take the sharp knife again. It's important to take the sharp knife, because the hard sharp knife, because I should have explained, a filleting knife, the blade bends to go with the shape of the fish. But when you're actually making pieces of sashimi, what you want is a flat blade knife. So we could just start cutting slices like this. Okay, the first one is at an angle, so that's kind of bit you try and hide as such. But just the little thin bits of sashimi, absolutely beautiful. And you see that if there is a bit of skin left on now, it's fine, because that will come off anyway. If this was a bigger fish, you'd obviously have bigger pieces of sashimi. But I like this, and just to serve with a cocktail stick or a small fork, and just let people dig in with a piece of the garnish. Here we go. So, what we've got now is the opportunity to dress the plate. So we can place the pieces of sashimi in the middle of the plate. Again, this is just my take on a rustic piece of fish that you can hand around, walk around with a plate at a dinner party, or sit there and watch a movie after a good day at sea. And take some of the ginger. This pickled ginger is just lovely. You get it from the budget supermarkets. This is the little one, and it saves you having to have fresh ginger in the house, but also it really does. Gonna have a bit now. It tastes so nice with the pickle and the ginger. And here we go with the fresh samphire. So normally this doesn't start to show on the mudflats till, I'd say used to be June, but now it's getting a bit earlier, May mainly. But there's a place I know, it's almost like a hot spot, and it's late April now, and there's already a beautiful harvest of samphire. So there you go, look at that. Look, hey, how much would you pay for that in a restaurant? Slice of lime, just a little squeeze of lime over the top. Now with the lime, don't do it to the last minute, because the lime will just start to cure the fish. So put the lime juice on at the very last minute, and there you go, over the samphire. When you cook the samphire, don't put any salt in the water, just boil it for 3 minutes, or bring a pot of water to the boil, then pop it in for 3 minutes. So it's just got a tiny little crunch left in it. But don't put any salt in the water, because it's salty enough as it stands. So there you have it, on a rather messy board, but the finest samphire, ginger, but most of all a beautiful horse mackerel scad that is one of the finest fish in the ocean. I can't wait to tuck in. Let's have a little taste of this. Oh, it's going to be so good. Oh yeah, that is so good. Oh, you've got to try this. That is magnificent.